Fletcher still on the sideline, and Samanza is intercepted. That is off the foot of a receiver and caught out of the air by Chad.
Week 2 of the 2023 college football season provided fans with a good number of storylines to discuss over the water cooler at work, a few of them being North Carolina's double overtime win over Appalachian State 40-34, and junior Max Brosmer for the New Hampshire Wildcats threw for almost 500 yards in a 45-42 loss against the Central Michigan Chippewas. Perhaps the biggest story from Week 2 was Alabama losing at home against the Texas Longhorns in a student-beating mentor scenario between Steve Sarkisian and Nick Saban. Also, the Colorado Buffaloes beat the Nebraska Huskers, which further proved that head coach Deion Sanders knows what he's doing so far, despite many people's skepticism. Hello everyone, and welcome to No Huddle, a college football channel with content by college football fans for college football fans. In this video, we're going over the Alabama loss and what it could mean for the Alabama dynasty. We'll also cover the Colorado Buffaloes and if they're the real deal or not. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Texas upsets Bama at home. Starting with the big one, Texas beat Alabama 34-24 in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night. While the Longhorns did not run away with the game, what they did demonstrate was an ability to punch back. If anyone remembers when we discussed conference previews and SEC Media Day, Nick Saban said the offense under Bryce Young was too reliant on him, and in 2023, Alabama would be more of a smash-mouth team that wore defenses down. We even thought that if Alabama played this way with arguably the best running back in the country, it would be hard for anyone to beat them. But once Alabama got the 16-13 lead in the closing seconds of the third quarter, Texas responded quickly as they pieced together a drive to reclaim the lead in just over a minute. Then, in the ensuing drive for the Crimson Tide, Texas picked the ball off and scored on the following play to push the lead to 27-16 following the PAT. Alabama scored again and got the 2-point conversion to make it 27-24, but Texas went right back down the field and scored again. It can be argued that Bama did itself no favors as they racked up 10 penalties for 90 yards, and the 2 interceptions led to the Longhorns scoring 10 points. But what this showed was Texas controlled the momentum, and when Alabama seemed to have it going in their favor, Texas responded to keep the game in their favor. Also, on the last drive of the game, Texas took the remaining 7 minutes of the fourth to essentially ice the game as they compiled 34 yards on 12 plays. Neither team utilized the run incredibly well as Texas averaged 2.8 yards per carry, while Alabama did slightly better with 3.1. But you know who performed incredibly well, at least we believe, Quinn Ewers. He threw for 349 yards on 24 for 38 and 3 touchdowns. This game just felt like Texas played the smash-mouth football Alabama hoped for this season. While the Longhorns didn't throttle the Crimson Tide, nor did they demoralize them, they did control the game based on the time of possession and based on how they responded when the momentum swung towards Alabama. For Alabama, this could be the spark it needed to start that smash-mouth play style. Texas is one of the better programs this year, and this is a non-conference game. For Saban and other coaches, maybe this shows them where the offense is and what needs to be addressed. There could be a QB change, and this helps Bama or Jaden Milroe turn it around from here. We're heading into Week 3, and looking at Alabama's schedule, there are a lot of hypotheticals, as there is with a lot of teams, so don't take this as us bashing Bama. Nor is it the end of the season already. One scenario is this game serves as a barometer and Alabama improves, and come November, this is the only loss they have. Then, when you look at this game in the rearview mirror, you can say that it was the turnovers and penalties that cost the Tide this game. If Alabama doesn't commit 10 penalties a game that cost them 90 yards, and those turnovers don't happen, then maybe Alabama had a fair chance. That is one scenario. Alabama starts improving now. They handle the tough teams like Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn. Then this one loss to a strong Longhorns team doesn't look so bad. On the other end of the spectrum is that this shows the glaring issue of quarterback play. Despite having a great offensive line, great running backs, and talent, it doesn't come together. The QB play never lines up with everything else Alabama possesses, and this causes them to struggle. It was obvious heading into the season that there was a huge question mark around QB for the Crimson Tide. Maybe this is a slippery slope for them, and Alabama slides further down, where they occur another 2, 3, or more losses. The loss itself is not as important for Alabama, but how they respond to this is. Deion and the Buffaloes. The Colorado Buffaloes have been the talk of college football because of their coach, Pro Football Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. Skeptics didn't like his coaching style, nor the way he turned the football roster on its head as he brought in 86 new players, 53 of them from the transfer portal. Since joining the Pac-12 in 2011, Colorado's best year came in 2016 when they posted a 10-4 record. In addition to the COVID-shortened 2020 season where the Buffaloes went 4-2, these are the only two winning seasons that the program has had in the Pac-12. Week 1 for Colorado presented a challenge in the formidable Texas Christian University, but the Buffaloes upset the Horned Frogs 45-42 in TCU's home stadium. For a team that managed one victory in the 2022 season, it was certainly impressive. Some praised Colorado for hanging with TCU and the performance of Shedeur Sanders, who went 38 for 47 with 510 yards and 4 touchdowns. Others labeled the upset as a fluke. For Week 2, the Buffaloes turned their attention to the Nebraska Huskers. If there were any doubts about the program after a close victory in Week 1, Colorado put that to rest with the dominant 36-14 victory over the Huskers in Week 2. It wasn't perfect for Colorado as they allowed 222 rushing yards on 41 attempts for an average of 5.4 yards per carry. This was also an area of concern against TCU, where the Horned Frogs rushed for 262 yards on 37 carries for an average of 7.1 yards per carry. Penalties also hurt the Buffaloes in Week 2 as they incurred 9 for 80 yards. The rushing game is not up to par with the pass game for Colorado. In both games, the Buffaloes rushed for 55 and 58 yards respectively. This could be due to the performances of Shedeur Sanders in both weeks, and they don't need the run to be as good. This could also just be an early kink that Coach Sanders will correct in the following weeks. With 86 new players, it's entirely possible that the program is not clicking with each other 100% of the time. It'll be something fans must keep their eyes on as the story of the Buffaloes grows over the course of the season, and we're sure they've garnered plenty of attention. There are some positives to look at in both weeks for the Buffaloes, however, besides the 2-0 record. Colorado won the turnover battle 4-1 against the Huskers and used those turnovers to score 17 points. The one turnover the Buffaloes surrendered, however, allowed Nebraska to score. While the Buffaloes won the turnover battle 2-1 against TCU in Week 1, they failed to score off those turnovers. Furthermore, they allowed TCU to score off the one turnover they committed. The Buffaloes can create takeaways, and they have shown that they can score off them. However, the team fails to stop the opposing team when they get turnovers. We'll say the ability to create turnovers is a positive, but there's still work to be done, and we're sure Coach Deion Sanders knows that as well. Another thing the Buffaloes seem to be efficient in is third down conversion rates. In Week 1 against TCU, Colorado went 9 for 15 on third downs, and against the Huskers, they converted 9 of 18. Shedeur Sanders continued to shine as he threw for 393 yards and 2 touchdowns on a 31 for 42 performance. It's early, but it looks like he has no problem being the leader of the team and the focal point of the offense. He's proven that he can extend plays through his scrambling abilities and has a natural feel for it. But when the Buffaloes play a top-ranked Oregon team in Week 4, this will put Shedeur Sanders to the test. Not to discredit his ability to escape the pocket and extend plays with his legs, but that will probably not be as easy to do against a team like the Ducks. The following week, Colorado takes on USC, and Sanders might not be able to scramble on the Trojans like he's done in these 2 games. It should be interesting to watch though. While Colorado plays Colorado State in Week 3 for what should be a huge rivalry game, the next 2 opponents for the Buffaloes are significantly tougher. The USC game features the top QB in Caleb Williams, so it would be great to see how Shedeur Sanders stacks up against Williams, and if he can hang with him. It's hard to say what to expect from the Colorado Buffaloes. Not many people expected them to beat TCU. We don't expect them to beat USC either, but if the Buffaloes beat Oregon, then they may have a fair chance at USC too. Looking further down the schedule for Colorado after USC, they take on Arizona State, Stanford, UCLA, Oregon State, Arizona, Washington State, and Utah. We're not going to predict possible records now, but with how Colorado has exceeded expectations so far, they've made themselves a team to watch. So far, Colorado looks ready for any challenge thrown their way, and they're a pleasant surprise, but the true tests start the following weeks. If Colorado wants to be on top of the mountain, then the ascent to it will be treacherous, and how this team responds to these games will determine how serious of a contender they really are. Let us know in the comments what you think about Colorado so far. Are they pretenders or contenders? Is there a middle ground for them? What does the loss to Texas signify for Alabama? And be sure to subscribe to No Huddle for more college football content.